Welcome to PM Ready, your guide to becoming PMP certified. This lesson is about the needs assessment, the business case, and the benefits management plan. Part 1. The needs assessment, the business case, and the benefits management plan are key business documents that are often underappreciated. This lesson will cover the different types of needs that can prompt an organization to consider launching a project to meet those needs, the economic feasibility study and other components of the business case that are necessary in order to justify project initiation, and also benefits management, which is documented in the Project Benefits Management Plan, which documents and describes how we will measure project success. We'll also go over how the project management discipline has changed in its view of what constitutes project success and how to measure it, as well as the role of the project manager and where these various documents fit in the project lifecycle. All projects start with a need to be met. A proper needs assessment involves identifying this need and documenting it in a needs assessment. It includes understanding the business goals and objectives, the issues involved, identifies opportunities, and provides recommendations of proposals to address these needs. The needs assessment comes before the project business case, and it may begin as early as portfolio planning or program planning, or it is sometimes included as a discrete project. The PMBOK guide identifies 4 fundamental categories of needs. These are to meet regulatory, legal, or social requirements, or to satisfy stakeholder requests or needs, or to create, improve, or fix products, processes, or services, or finally, to implement or change business or technological strategies. It may help you to remember these 4 categories of needs if you use what I call the 4 S's, which is a little invention of mine. The 4 S's are simply short labels or titles for the 4 categories. They are society, stakeholders, stuff, and strategy. The society category includes needs to meet regulatory, legal, or social requirements. For example, as environmental regulations increase, it has been necessary for many coal-fired power plants in the United States to install pollution-reducing mechanisms in order to reduce air pollution. Some organizations have a culture that is more environmentally conscious and have taken steps to reduce air pollution before required to do so by government regulation. One example is when Rio Tinto purchased the Kennecott copper mine in Salt Lake City, Utah. This is a large copper mine that has been in operation for more than 100 years. This operation includes a copper smelter that used to emit sulfur into the air, which harmed the vegetation in the area as well as damaged boats moored at the nearby Great Salt Lake. Rio Tinto spent millions of dollars to install what they call sulfur scrubbers to the copper smelter's smokestack, which reduced sulfur emissions almost completely. This is an example of a project that demonstrated commitment to the local community and environment, and would be categorized as a societal need, even though it was done proactively before government regulations required it. The stakeholders category includes stakeholder requests or needs that have no other justification that would put them in another category. For example, if your organization's head of accounting and finance requested a new financial report, and this report has no specific societal or strategic motivation, it could be categorized as a stakeholder need. It's important to recognize that some projects, which may not appear to have any other justification, may simply have no justification other than that a stakeholder requested it. And depending on the stakeholder, that may be justification enough to initiate a project. The stuff category is the most easily recognized type of need and includes new products, new versions of products, new or improved manufacturing or business processes, the introduction of new or improved services, such as financial services, tax services, transportation, doctors, lawyers, consulting, training, and other such items, as well as buildings, bridges, highways, and railways. The strategy category is an interesting one. Suppose you manufacture and sell widgets across a variety of price points. Expensive, high-quality widgets, moderately priced widgets that provide a great value for the money, and low-priced widgets of lower quality. Now suppose a new competitor comes along that has decided to be the low-priced leader in the lower-quality widgets. Your organization might decide to launch a project to reduce manufacturing costs of your low-priced widgets in order to compete with a new competitor. Or you might decide to withdraw from the low-quality market and focus your resources on the moderate and higher quality widgets. Either way, the need and the resulting project to address the need falls into the category of strategic needs. The PMBOK guide provides a list of some specific examples of factors that could prompt the need for a project. These include new technology, competitive forces, material issues, political changes, market demand, economic changes, customer requests, stakeholder demands, legal requirements, business process improvements, strategic opportunity or business need, social needs, or environmental considerations. All of these specific factors can be categorized into the 4 fundamental categories of needs. In fact, most such factors align with more than just one of the 4 fundamental categories. Take new technology, for example. Computer technology, of course, is advancing at a rapid pace, and organizations are constantly launching projects to take advantage of these technological advances and provide customers with new and improved products and services. Everything from faster internet connections to smartphones that have more features, storage, and provide more value to consumers than ever before. Project needs based on new technology fit into both the stuff and strategy categories. We've already covered an example of competitive forces, which is primarily a strategic need. Material issues, such as inadequate materials resulting in safety issues with, say, a bridge or a building or a highway or railway or even an airport, for example, would need to be corrected in order to comply with government or industry safety standards. This would fit into both the society category as well as the stuff category, because projects to fix something are in the stuff category of new or improved products and services. Political changes. Let's take a look at an example. There's a large mining operation in a remote area of Outer Mongolia that will bring in plenty of revenue for the government to fix the terrible air pollution problem that they have in their capital city of Ulaanbaatar. However, political changes keep affecting the profit-sharing agreement and halting progress on the operation. This is an example of a political factor that falls into the category of strategic needs. Market demand that starts new products to produce new and improved products falls into at least 3 categories: stakeholders, stuff, and strategy. And even the 4th category, society, if the products are, say, more environmentally clean, such as more fuel-efficient cars. Responding to economic changes is strategic because it helps a company survive and grow by adjusting to changes in the market driven by the state of the economy. Customer requests typically fall into at least 2 categories: stakeholders and stuff, because they respond to stakeholders' requests and generate new or improved products or services. This table in the PMBOK guide goes on, but you get the idea. Analyzing business needs by identifying the needs the factors, and the categories they fit into can help you better understand the needs, and in turn to better analyze the business case for the project. Let me give you an example of how this kind of needs analysis can be of benefit. Some years ago, I managed a project to implement a document management system at a firm that holds a lot of real estate. Some of it they'd held for over 100 years. They had rooms full of deeds and real estate documents. Of course, with so many documents to manage, it made sense to implement a document management system. However, I wanted to better understand the need in order to make sure that we truly solved the problem with this project. After some discussion, I learned that what really prompted the decision to launch this project was that they had recently lost $10 million worth of real estate because they were not able to locate the appropriate documents in time for a court case. They found the documents later, when it was too late. This is not something that they wanted to readily admit, of course, but it was important to know what that pain point was that motivated the project. Up until that point, they had insisted that there was really no measurable cost-benefit analysis to justify the project. I asked them how often they thought that such a loss would happen if they didn't fix the problem. They estimated that it would happen about every 10 years. With that data in hand, it was easy to say that the project was worth about $1 million per year. The total project cost was less than $1 million, so it was clearly worth it. This information helped the sponsor justify the project and may have kept it from being delayed or canceled before it was finished. This is just one example of how important a needs assessment is to the success of a project. As with any of the project management documents, the needs analysis can be formal or informal, broadly framed or highly detailed, based on the needs of the project. For this project, we didn't even need to write anything down. It was a simple, short explanation that was provided verbally to upper management in order to justify the project. Moving on now from the needs assessment to the business case, PMI defines the project business case as a documented economic feasibility study used to establish the validity of the benefits of a selected component lacking sufficient definition and that is used as a basis for the authorization of further project management activities. This definition can be a little confusing. It's a little bit wordy. So let's take a look at the key phrases in this definition. First and foremost, a project business case contains an economic feasibility study. Because this is an economic feasibility study, it's not just a study of whether or not the project is possible, but whether or not it is economically or financially worth it. This economic feasibility study is then used to justify or support the validity of the expected benefits of this project. Another key point is that the project business case is documented. This shouldn't be just a verbal understanding. It should be written down so that it is clear and easy to communicate. Finally, the project business case forms the basis for authorization of future project management activities, which basically means the initiation of the project. The project business case should also summarize the results of the needs analysis. Here's a list, which comes from the PMBOK guide, of the types of needs that can prompt a business case. Notice that this is a shorter list than the needs assessment and longer than the 4 categories of needs. Why are these different? This is because they serve different purposes. The process we just described for a needs assessment allows for a more detailed analysis to really dive down and understand the need more fully. This list of business case needs is useful for categorizing the type of business case and for communicating this to key stakeholders. You'll notice that it's a list that is relatively intuitive, broad enough to express the different types of needs, yet short enough to not be confusing. The list includes market demand, organizational need, customer request, technological advance, legal requirement, ecological impacts, and social need. Who develops and is responsible for the needs assessment and the project business case? The project sponsor is generally accountable for the development and the maintenance of the project business case document, which may be done by the sponsor, or it may be done by the PMO, or the portfolio, or the program, or some other stakeholder group. The project manager is responsible for providing recommendations and oversight to keep the project business case, the project management plan, the project charter, and the project benefits management plan and its success measures in alignment with one another and with the goals and objectives of the organization. There's an important, though subtle, difference between accountable and responsible. The problem is we tend to use these words interchangeably, but in the context of project management, they do have an important difference. Accountable. There can only be one person accountable for something. There may be many people working on it who are responsible for certain tasks that they need to do, but there can only be one person accountable. As a manager of mine once was fond of saying, he wanted to have one throat to choke when something goes wrong. So as you take a closer look at these definitions, you can see that the project sponsor is accountable. The project sponsor is the one throat to choke. However, the project sponsor doesn't have to be the one to create the business case or even to maintain it. The sponsor simply needs to be the one accountable. So it can be anyone in the portfolio or very oftentimes the project manager who is responsible for putting together the project business case, but the sponsor is accountable for it. The project manager, though not accountable for the project business case, is responsible for what? For providing specific recommendations and oversight to make sure these various documents that control the direction of the project stay in alignment with each other and with the strategic and other objectives of the organization. So the project manager is very involved, though not accountable for this document. This diagram helps to visualize where the business case fits with the other documents that come before project initiation. These documents are the needs assessment and the benefits management plan, as well as the main initiating document, the project charter. As you can see, the needs assessment comes first, which then feeds into the business case, which summarizes the findings of the needs assessment. The business case is the document that is used to decide whether to proceed with the project. The business case is reviewed throughout the project in order to keep the project in alignment with the business case that justified it in the first place. It's also referenced after the project, along with the benefits management plan, to measure the success of the project in the long term. A project may take less than a year to complete, but it may take several years for its benefits to be fully realized and for it to really pay off. For example, it may take a year to build a new building, but it may take 10 years for the benefits of the new building to justify the cost of building it. This is the end of part 1. PM Ready is a publication of PM Guaranteed, and is based on the Project Management Institute's PMBOK guide.